from 2024 to now, everyone now agreed that since there's this problem with the law, it's much better that we put it, and so that it's clear and it's concise. And the Senate Committee on Electoral Act and the House Committee had a joint committee. They met 27 times from 2024. They met with INEC, they met with all stakeholders, they went with the CSOs. They now came back to us with the report.
Welcome to my page. Yeah, I just want to talk about this ongoing, maybe forgery or no forgery, I don't know what to call it. Nigerians, something is wrong with us, yo. Yes, they said they forged the tax law. Nobody did anything. This is electoral reform law again. It has been forged. Nobody is saying anything. I think by now Nigerians should be more angrier than before. Because what they just did now, from Akpabio to Tinubu and whatsoever they call themselves, is that the election Nigerians has not conducted has been rigged. I did the video yesterday. The election that has not been conducted, with what Senate President had just said, it has been rigged. Because we all knew what happens in 2023 election when they said there was glitched. Is that something happened to their portal. That is exactly what they will do. Somebody has come to the national TV to say this thing that, forget it, if Nigeria, President Tinubu can have up to 30 governors out of the 36 states of Nigeria, and he has won 36 governors to himself, what should you expect? It's like that 2027 is a done deal with what that just happened. Because what Nigeria has been anticipating for is that Nigeria can have a real-time update of election results. And that is what other countries has been doing. Instead of us going forward, we are going backward in Nigeria. And Nigerians, we are folding our hands. And we are so comfortable with suffering and smiling. I don't know why. We rant online. Let us coordinate ourselves. Nigerians, we should get angry about this. We should not just fold our hands and think something magic will happen in 2027. Your vote will not count. Don't let us forget what happened in 2023. That a lot of people came outside to vote. They came even from abroad. Nigerians came back home to come and vote. At the end of the day, what happened? Our vote did not count. That is exactly what they are trying to do. Now, let's listen to Senator Abaribe.
In clear language, did the Senate approve real-time electronic transmission of election results, yes or no?
Yes. And I will tell you how it happened.
Yeah.
And I will let me set the stage first. In the last elections in 2022, which was used in 2023 elections, all the time that people went to court, all the way to the Supreme Court, especially for the presidential elections, the court held that what INEC put as their guidelines, because that particular proposition in the act says transfer of result as approved by the INEC. They held that INEC guidelines were not law. And that was why everyone prior to this time, and from the time that the Electoral Committee of the Senate and the House started meeting from 2024 to now, everyone now agreed that since there's this problem with the law, it's much better that we put it, and so that it's clear and it's concise. And the Senate Committee on Electoral Act and the House Committee had a joint committee. They met 27 times from 2024. They met with INEC, They met with all stakeholders. They went with the CSOs. They now came back to us with the report. Now, when the report was brought, what was there in the report, which was also agreed by them, and all this while that they met, was there should be electronic transmission of results through the IREV. And so, it was what was put in the document before us. Now, when that document was brought, which was the amendment of this 2022 Act, the Senate, in its wisdom, decided to set up another ad hoc committee led by Senator Adebomire San to review everything again. Then the Senate met again to move into an executive session. The reason for going into the executive session, which is where we now say, let us talk to each other, is that we can fight, we can show, and we don't want Nigerians to see us fighting over crossing T or dotting an I. And we said, fine, so let us approve everything. We approved all the ones we could approve.
Including
electronic transmission. And so when we now came back, because it's better that we got the whole sequence for plenary session, it was simply for us to just go through what was already approved in the executive session. That's why if you notice what happened, the Senate President will simply say, section 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, approve, we say approve. So because we wanted to go through it. And that was how we went through up till we got to section 60. Of course, so many people were walking about, people were talking to each other because everybody assumed that the matter had been settled through all these processes. And so what we now felt was that we had already passed this. In the document that I have, what is inside there is electronic transmission through the IREF. And so we felt that this had already been done. So we were surprised. While we were still in the chamber, that we started getting reports that no, that wasn't what was passed. So everybody was perplexed. And so people started walking around to say, what went on here? Because this was like an assumption of something that had already gone. So I went personally to the Senate President, and the President now said, oh no, let him clarify. And he said it. Oh, don't worry, what we passed was transmit, not
transfer.
And all that. So, we were now surprised.
When the report started coming.
When the report started coming out. And then some of our colleagues now said that in the document they had, that they said transfer. I said, no, it can't be. So we didn't want this confusion. So a few of us who were still around, we called each other and said, no, this is not what we passed. So let us make sure that Nigerians know. And you have, and I've given you the background. The reason why Nigerians don't want any confusion rising again. We don't want courts taking decisions on elections.
But we're pretty clear on that of what Nigerians want. What we're not clear about is if this approval that you say took place is as clear as you say it is.
Okay.
Why did so many Nigerians and seasoned parliamentary reporters come away believing it was rejected?
You know, there was a real confusion, you know.
Well, that's the problem we have with you guys in the National Assembly.
Down,
you're always confusing us, and we don't know what's going on.
We're not confusing you. Now, that was why we also, in our press conference, we said, usually, no matter how you do anything in the listen, when we come back to do the next legislative day in our process, there's a votes and proceedings. When that votes and proceedings is brought, then the Senate President will say, page 1, page 2. If there's any anomaly, you now point it and say, no, that wasn't what we approved. So, that's why we said that this process is not over until we see the votes and proceedings. So that when we're looking at the votes and proceedings, if it is now there in the votes and proceedings that it is no longer electronic transmission, what is there is transfer as per whatever was there before, then We will say no. Mr. President, no.